Okay, good morning,
Yeah.
everyone, and yeah, hope you are having a good weekend. And welcome to the demo. Okay, so this is on Azure data engineering stuff, data tech stack, and today class is just a simple introduction to the course. Okay, we'll cover little bit of technical, we'll not go in depth, but the idea is to give you the evolution of data technology. Okay, and again, to know each other, I would like to understand where you are coming from. What is your expectation from the course? I'll give a little bit about myself, my experience and all. We'll go through what we are planning to cover. Okay, in this course, what is the agenda? Why we have chosen this topic? And then we'll take your questions. Any questions, any apprehensions you have regarding this course, regarding your expectation, please free to ask. Okay. So with that, let's divide it into three parts. First, we'll introduce each other. I'll give a brief about myself. Would like to understand about you a little bit. Would like to understand what is your expectations from the course, what is your technical background and all that. Then we'll cover little bit technical stuff. I just give you a small walkthrough on how the data intensive application data has been evolved over a period of time and what stage we are. We'll go through what is that we are planning to cover. And in the next step, I will take your questions. Okay. I hope that's okay. So let's start. So first of all, about myself. So my name is Subrat. I'm working in this industry for last around 14 years. I did not start as a data engineer per se. I was an application developer. I was mostly into a .NET developer, Microsoft, .NET developer. I have worked into desktop, web and all those stuff. And eventually I moved to data. I mean, I moved to SSIS, little bit of ETL, and then moved to the traditional, the big data stuff, right? So I've been working to big data for last almost 7 years, 7 to 8 years. I have quite good amount of exposure in both streaming, batch, and all that. I'm leading a team of 10 people in my organization. Okay, and I have been taking training, corporate training in my previous as well as the current organization on the same topic. So basically, what when I was in Cognizant, basically what we used to do is we used to develop in-house talent pool, right? So people who are interested in big data. So if you go and hire from market, right? So eventually company has to pay a lot. So company has this plan that let's develop an in-house talent pool so that people who are interested and we can engage them in projects. So we were taking those training for them. We have seen people migrating from different domain or different technology to data engineering and that to Azure data engineering. That's what I have been for an institutional training. This is the first time I'm taking for Azure data engineering, but I have taken for other topic before. Okay. That's about myself. Now I will go on mute and I would like to hear about you. So whatever I'm seeing on screen, I will ask accordingly. AZ, why don't you go first? Okay, you have issue with mic, no problem. So we'll circle you back. Madhavi, would you like to go next?
Hey, hi. So my name is Madhavi. I'm from USA actually.
Hmm?
So yeah. So I am no, I just now completed my master's. So in India, I have 4 years of experience in manual testing, but here I want to try job on data engineering.
Hmm.
So in this course, I'm expecting to learn what is data engineering, how what is the use of that, and it means how we use that regarding the data factory and Azure boards, everything. So to get a job, that is
Okay,
what my expectation. Yeah.
okay, clear enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pawan?
Hi Subrat.
Hi.
I am from ETL background and I just want to learn end-to-end on data engineering. And one suggestion, Subrat, actually this is demo session, right? If you give overview on what are all things you are all covering and what you will be exclusively covering in the upcoming training, that would be helpful. I mean, there are many people in the training, right? If they keep on just introduction, I think it will be very tough for us. Even some of my teammates are in the call, and it will be tough for us to choose whether to opt for this training or not.
Sure, sure, sure. We'll cover this
Yeah,
in detail.
definitely.
We'll
Yeah,
we'll understand what is that we are going, what that
yeah.
we are going to cover in this
Because
course.
from the training center, I got only that only 1 hour of training. I mean, demo will be there. So just I was worried
Hmm.
because the people keep on adding, right?
See, 1 hour is there, but for the demo, it might stretch little bit more. Okay, this is the first class, right? We'll not cover technical. There are other stuffs also we'll cover. So it might get stretched beyond 1 hour. I hope everybody is fine with that. I'll not stretch more, just a few more minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So don't worry, you will get an idea. So I will try my best to give you an idea about what is that at the end of the course you will be learning, right? We'll cover that in detail.
Okay,
And
super.
when you say ETL, Pawan, which technology basically it is?
Yeah, initially I started working on this SQL background. After that, mainly focused into talent and big data like Hive and HDFS. So started working on
Hmm.
some cloud as well. But yes, to get
Okay.
end-to-end knowledge on these things, expecting end-to-end. So to get into Azure cloud, including ADF, ADB, and Python, PySpark.
Okay. Understood. Yes, Sandeep.
Hi, Subrat. Uh,
Hi.
so I'm from ETL background. So I worked on different ETL tools like Informatica and Microsoft. I mean, most of my career, I worked on Microsoft technologies like SSIS and SSRS. And with respect to this training, I was specifically looking for Databricks along with PySpark and Synapse Analytics
Okay.
to switch my career into Azure Data.
Sure. Why the screen is behaving like this?
One question. So does
Hmm.
this course also covers Databricks?
Yes, definitely. We'll cover Databricks in detail.
Is it along with PySpark or only Databricks?
PySpark. PySpark, PySpark. See, Databricks, I will tell you what Databricks is today in the demo, because this is mostly a cloud provider of Spark, right? So that's a framework. I mean, in order to code, you need a framework, you need a language, right? You know, to use Databricks, you know, to code, you know, to solve your business problem, you need that one. So for that, we'll use PySpark or Scala Spark or whatever technology, R or SQL, whatever you choose. So definitely we'll cover that. So from among the given options, this course is about PySpark.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thanks.
Okay, I'd like to move to Gaurav. Am I audible? First of all, I'm not getting
Yes,
any
sorry, sir.
response. Yeah, Devi, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Subrat. I'm Devi. Currently, I'm working as a Power BI developer. I would like to know more about data related to the Azure and Databricks and the data lake. That's why I joined. I'm interested in this class,
Okay,
which will helpful for my career.
so Gaurav. Okay, we'll move to Hemant.
Yeah, hello. This is Hemant. I'm working as an ABAP consultant. Uh, I have around 5 years of experience. So I would like to switch my career to data engineering.
Mhm.
Is yeah.
Okay. I forgot to ask one question to everyone. So, are you guys comfortable with any of the programming language, be it SQL or Python? I can see that a lot of people are coming from ETL background, so at least I can expect them that they are comfortable with SQL. So just mention whether you are comfortable with SQL or Python or not. So, Hemant, are you comfortable with SQL or
Yeah,
Python or
yeah, SQL
okay,
and
good, good, good. Jagdish.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Basically, I work mostly on database perspective, SQL, PL, Oracle and SQL Server. So I was just looking to explore this data engineering to learn and, get some practical hands-on training.
Cool,
Thank
cool. Pawan? Or I think I covered Pawan already. Prem. Prem, are you there? Okay, I'll move to Raj.
Hello, my
Hi.
name is Raj, and basically, I have 7.5 years experience as an ETL developer. I work with Pentaho and time extender ETL too, but now I want to move my career on Azure, cloud, because on premises, ETL, it's like career is ending. I think. So I want to move.
Okay. 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 Cool. Who I have next? Ravi. Ravi, I believe he is on. Ravi, are you able to hear? Okay, I'll move to RBK.
Uh, Hi, my name is Raja, and I'm civil engineering graduate, 2018 batch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm totally new in this field.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, is this course good for beginners like me? And is this right time to switch into IT?
Okay, if that's a question, the time is always right, provided how much effort you want to put. Raja, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, see, first of all, answer me these questions. How comfortable are you with any of the IT stuff, be it a programming language or anything else?
No,
Or
I'm
you're
totally
completely
new
new
in
to
this
that?
field.
Totally new.
I'm
Okay.
completely new.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So one thing is that you have to invest time on your part, right? I can explain you the stuff wherever you feel, there is a hurdle. I can help you over there, but the
Yeah.
effort has to be come from your end, right? You have to spend time to learn at least a SQL or a Python or whatever we are teaching here, right?
Yeah.
So first of all,
Okay.
as this course is all about data engineering, data breaks, the data factory, and all those stuff, we cannot cover a programming language in detail. My plan is to give you a small refresher kind of stuff in Python and SQL for the first 2 days, right? I
Okay.
cannot cover these things in detail because that's the beyond of this particular course. So what I would expect from you is you spend time. I mean, you just take this refresher as a starting point. We'll provide you the resources on where you start, okay? And then
Okay.
you practice on that side to understand the programming languages part. Coming to the data engineering side, data engineering, does it involve lot of programming? It's a yes or a no, yes and a no, right? If you are good in SQL, most of the business cases you will be able to write in SQL, right? Data engineering is not about only writing a program. It's understand how efficiently you are performing a job. So for that matter, you need to understand that the framework that I'm working, how that works internally. What is the infrastructure behind that? So there are two things into it. First of all, you need to have a good analytical skill, programming skill, as well as you need to have a good hands on the infrastructure. You need to understand how this framework works, what is the internal, and how to use it optimally. So there are two things about it, right? Coming to the second part, this is common for everyone, right? People has to understand a framework. People has to learn the intricacies of it. We will discuss different use cases, right, on how to optimize our code and all that. But how to write a code, that is something you have to put effort. And whenever you feel like there is a problem or something, maybe I can help you on that area. So as I said, it will be a mutual effort from both the sides.
Okay.
Now, if you are able to put that effort, definitely you can do that.
No, thank you.
Okay. Cool. Next, I can see Zephin who has logged in. Okay. There is somebody called S. Okay. Sairam Reddy.
Yeah, hi Subrat. I'm from like Informatica background. So I would like to check that by this course, can we crack that DP 203 certification?
DP 203 certification cracking, we will not cover everything that comes under DP 203 certification, right?
Okay.
And DP 203 certification, I mean, if you want to cover, you might not need this course. I can give you a resource. I mean, there are tutorials which you can just go through it, and you can crack a DP 203, right? So that's the single
Okay.
tutorial available on Udemy. I can share you that one. I will tell you that you just go through whatever question and explanation they are giving, and you can crack a DP 203, because these days dumps and all available. So certificate cracking a certification is not that difficult. So that
Oh,
is different. DP 203 has a lot of stuff into it, right? It covers the end-to-end part of Azure storage. It covers SQL, relational, NoSQL databases and all that. Then it covers Databricks, Synapse, and lot of stuffs. Few of them,
yeah.
almost 50% of them, we are covering in this course. But there are remaining 50% which are not part of this course. And what happened when you go and work in an organization? There are chances that you might not use that, because today most of this industry, what they are using as a tech stack in the data engineering, right? And when they are using Azure data engineering, started with the storage, orchestration, which is your ADF, data transformation, data logic, which you are writing, which is your data bricks, data warehouse and all stuff, which is your Synapse, right? So most of the things are covered in this aspect. There are companies which are using NoSQL, streaming analytics and all, but they are not part of this course. So to
Okay.
answer your question, cracking DP 203, this course will give some part of that, but not everything. Cracking DP
Okay.
203 is not that difficult. As I was telling, there are resources available which will give you dumps, explain you each and every question, and you can easily crack the exam, right?
Okay.
That's how it
Yeah,
is.
my organization wants me to do that certification, so I'm looking for that.
No, I mean, so what I would see, if you understand theoretically some point, some part of it, you can definitely, take this course. And there are other resources which I can share, and just go through it, and you can easily crack it. That's for sure.
Sure, sure. I can see some Ramesh or Rakesh something in Udemy, but
Sorry,
I'm
what is
not
that?
sure which one. I can see some Ramesh one or Rakesh, some author, like someone has telling that. I'm
Ramesh
not.
Ratnaswamy. Yeah, I understand. No, no, there is a different one. Maybe eventually in some point I will share that one. Okay, I will try to find
Okay.
that one and I will share it. That's
Sure,
is a
sure.
that's is your go-to thing for DP 203. Okay, don't worry
Okay.
about it.
Okay.
Sairam.
And if I'm
Yeah.
not good about Python,
Mhm.
like how to do that PySpark.
See, the regular Python and PySpark are, I mean, there is a similarity, but PySpark mostly use the Spark API. Okay. So, for example, if I'm a Python developer and I want to learn PySpark, then there are certain things of Python learning that I can leverage here, but I need to understand the Spark API also. Now, Spark has given you the advantage that if you are not good in Python, you want to write in SQL, you can do the same thing. Whatever you can do in
Oh,
PySpark, right? You can achieve the same thing writing SQL. So that's an option
oh,
for you. So today we'll just do a small hands-on, and I will show you how to do the same thing what you do in PySpark, you can do it in SQL in the same
okay,
Databricks environment. Okay.
that's good. Yeah.
How about your SQL skill? As you're working in Informatica, I think that you might have some good knowledge about it.
Yeah, I only have like 1.5 years of experience, and I'm good with SQL.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Sairam.
I already had an introduction, Subrat.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Sandeep. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Sorry. Satish.
Yeah, good morning, Sujit. I'm currently working as a PHP backend developer. Completely, total, I have 8 years experience on the same domain.
Mhm.
I'm planning to switch my technology to cloud data engineering.
Okay,
I'm familiar with SQL, but I am new to complete cloud concepts and everything.
understood. Understood. That should be fine because I was at the same position as you. I was a .NET developer, as I said, right? So first few years I worked as a .NET developer, and then I make a move. So I completely relate to your case, and I must tell you that it's completely feasible.
No,
Okay,
thank you.
cool. Soumya.
Yeah, hi. I'm working as a Power BI developer. I have
Okay,
total 6 years of experience, and mm, about my education, I have completed my BTech uh, and MTech.
cool. That's fine. Thank you. So you work mostly on the DAX reporting and all that.
Yeah, right.
We have to move a little fast, guys. I'll move to Sri.
Hi, Subrat.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm completed my master's now, and totally my domain is electrical engineering. I just wanted
Mhm.
to pursue the career in data engineering. So I wanted to
Mhm.
know what extent, I'm aware of programming. What
Mhm.
extent of the programming, like it's an 100% programming course, or we have like 20 to 30% like Python and PySpark.
Yes, see, you have to anyways write your application, you have to anyways write code, right?
Yeah.
So, in order to solve a business logic, you have to write your code in PySpark or SQL Spark or all this stuff. So that is definitely there. But if you have some fundamental understanding, you can grab the concept over a period of time. That should not be a problem.
Like the loops and control statements and
No, no, no. These are not there.
oh,
These are not there. No,
okay.
they're very
So
rarely used. Very rarely used.
uh, okay, on the whole, how much percentage can be considered as the programming for this data?
See, when you say programming, are you talking about the typical looping, threading, and all those stuff?
No, I'm saying like suppose if you consider like ADS or ADF, right? ADF is like
Huh?
a tool which
No
is
code tool.
associated with the yeah, which is associated with the SQL server, right? In the SQL server, we
No, no,
can write the
ADF is an
SQL.
orchestrator tool. ADF is an
Okay.
orchestration, Sri.
Okay.
What when you say orchestration, here a lot of see what
Hello,
happened. We'll take a use case. We'll take a use
hello.
case and understand. Let's first go through intro, then
Yeah.
we'll come to that. Okay, sure. So regarding programming, it is not a lot of programming per se, but an understanding of the programming will definitely help you to answer to your concern regarding the loop, the list, the enumerators, exception handling, your multi-threading and all that. They are used little bit in advance when you're designing a framework and all. And but I mean, when you start as a data engineering at your stage, all these things won't be needed. If you are good in SQL,
Okay.
know a little bit of fundamentals of Python, you should be more than good, more than whatever needed.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Srinivas.
Yeah, I have worked on Java and MuleSoft and some of the integration tools. Like I
Mhm.
have 10 years of experience. Or interested in data and related technologies. I have a dilemma like whether to go with the conventional data engineering approach or Azure data engineering practice.
See, conventional data engineering or Azure data engineering, a cloud is just a facilitator, to do some of the tool, little in with little more convenience, right? So whether you go through the data engineering or cloud data engineering, the fundamentals are going to be the same. You need to understand a framework, how a framework works. You need to understand what is distributed computing. You need to understand how to leverage a distributed computing framework. Then cloud will just provide you a platform to apply all this skill. If you are not learning, eventually today everything is moving to cloud. So one way or the other, we have to leverage cloud. But there are definitely certain open source offerings, but for that also we need to understand the fundamentals of data engineering, right? So this course will
Yeah,
help you to understand that. We will use cloud as our facilitator to see how today the real world projects work, but the fundamentals remains the same wherever you go.
makes sense. Thank you. And one thing like suppose if you're appearing in an interview as a data engineer or Azure data engineer, what would be the difference? Like if we go for only data engineer, will they more concentrate on PySpark and Databricks? Uh, or if we go as an Azure engineer, what would be the difference point of interview base?
Okay. So, okay. How about I take this? Let me cover this introduction, and when I will start with the use case, I will cover this.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
just
And
take.
one
I
more
just
thing,
taking
like,
a note of your question.
yeah, what percent of our time goes into PySpark or Databricks in this course?
What percentage of this will go into PySpark? I would say roughly 40 to 50% will be covered in Databricks and PySpark.
Oh, thank you. That covers Spark as well, right? Yes.
They're the core part. Yes. Let me give you a use case, where all these questions would be clear. Okay, so once I finish this individual introduction, we'll start with a small use case of how the data world looks like, and then all these questions should be clear. Okay,
Uh, because
as I
why I'm
said,
asking,
because huh, huh.
in any Azure data engineering course, right? They'll mostly concentrating on storage or pipelines, but not the Databricks or PySpark. Like it goes like just 20%
No,
of
not like, because in organization, right, what happens is as a data engineer, it is expected to know about the end-to-end thing of data. When it comes to data, you need to know about how the data is stored, how the data is retrieved, how the data has to be engineered, how the data has to be massaged to get into a correct form, and how the data has to be put in a place where it can be used by others. So these are an end-to-end purview of your data engineering stuff. So storage and all, yes, you need to know about it, but that's not a big part of it. Because when a business problem comes to you, right, they are expecting your analytical skill, how you are able to solve this problem using the technology at hand, right? And storage is just a small part of it. That's what I would say. It is definitely an important part, because the more the efficiently you are storing the data, the faster it is for you to retrieve the data, to store the data. Because when we are talking about a huge job which is running, right, the faster we are able to complete it, the faster we are able to provide, the more efficiently we are able to solve this problem, is what matters at the end of the day. So yes, storage plays a part of it, but it's not a very big part of the entire script.
yes, yes. And I guess DP 203 is covered. Like how far we are going to learn for the Databricks certification or like PySpark certification.
Databricks are, so what I would say is, once you the Databricks, we will try to get a complete details about the Databricks. So Databricks will cover everything. We'll do small capstone projects also, so you'll be understanding how things work. So coming to DP203, as I answered in one of the previous question, this will not cover everything that is needed in DP203, but almost 50%, 50 to 60% of the course will be covered here.
Thank you.
But
Sorry for
as I was
interrupting.
telling earlier, right, DP203, cracking DP203 is not is not that a big task. There are online resources available, and you just go through them. They have provided some 4 5 dumps. They explain each and every questions. If you just practice them and appear for DP203, you'll easily crack it.
Thank you.
Okay. Suresh, did we discuss Suresh? Yeah, if you want to go
Oh,
next.
Subrat, good morning.
Hi.
Currently, I'm working on mainframe technologies. I have 10 plus years of experience. I'm
Okay.
comfortable with SQLs. I know a little bit basics for with Python also. So I'm looking to change my skills, technology. So
Right. Right. Venkatesh.
Yeah, hi. I'm Venkatesh. I have around 10 years experience into QA testing. I have exposure on, work experience on SQL and Java programming language. I'm just planning to switch to new technology, which will be added advantage. That's it. Thank you.
Vishnu.
Hey, hi Shubhra. So I'm into support background. I just want to learn more about data engineering so that I can step into this.
Okay. So may I know what exposure you have in programming languages like Python and C++?
Just the SQL part I know a bit, but not into Python.
Not into Python. Okay,
Yeah, more into operations. So,
got it. So regarding infrastructure and all, you must have a good idea, right? Can I assume that?
right,
What
right.
kind of
Yeah,
support it
I
is? Is
had
it
a bit of
infrastructure support
hands-on.
or
Yeah,
application support?
application support.
Application support.
So we support an e-commerce application. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Did I miss anyone who wants to go?
Saurabh, this is Shekhar.
Yeah, Ashika.
Yeah, Saurabh, I'm from legacy background. Okay, I'm working in mainframe technology. I'm planning to
Which one? Sorry,
switch mainframes.
mainframe. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
looking for a technology switch.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when I was checking with my friends and colleagues, they told, the, I mean, cloud going to be the emerging technology, so better uh, look look into it. So that is the reason for opting this.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So, okay, I believe I covered everyone. If still I missed someone, you are free to go. Unmute yourself and give an intro. Okay, so I think we have
So,
covered all the
Subrat,
participants.
one,
Yeah, yeah, please.
Subrat, one thing.
Uh-huh.
If
Uh-huh.
possible, like let us share some overview on like what is the current market trend and how are the opportunities and the packages, if possible.
ठीक है. So people, so mostly what I got just that you'd like to understand what is that we are going to cover here, right? And how in what depth we'll be covering Databricks, PySpark. People have apprehensions over the programming skill, right? And as somebody asked, what is the difference between conventional data engineer and Azure data engineer? Then, as you asked, market trends and opportunities and all. So yes, we will cover this, but first let's get into little bit of technical for today. Okay. The idea is to give you an overview of how a typical data engineering project works. People who are already in the ETL background, they might be familiar with it. And then we will see that how the data has evolved over a period of time, what exactly this data factory, Spark and Databricks plays a role into it, and then we'll take these questions. Okay. I'm just sharing one paint, MS Paint. So is it visible to all of you?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So let's take you work in an industry. Okay. That basically industries could be anything. It could be an e-commerce, could be a logistics, could be anything. Okay. So any industry today is generating lot of data, right? Lot of raw data they are generating, right? So let me just print it. It is there are a lot of raw data they are generating. Okay. So these data basically they are generating why they are saying raw data because there is no such rule on this data because somebody is booking a transaction, somebody is raising an inquiry, somebody is just do the window shopping. There are internal data, employees data, and all. There are a lot of data which is being generated, but there is a definite requirement of this data. People wants to see for example in e-commerce site, right? An e-commerce site, when a user logs in, I wants to see what the user has done transactions over a period of time. When he makes a transactions, we want to show him what is the status of that. Organization wants to know a lot of things about this data. That's what particular product it's selling over a period of time, and what is a particular, is there a specific time that this particular product has shoots off its sale, so that they can have more stocks about it. Those kinds of analysis we want, right? So this is the data, and there are people sitting at the other end. Sorry. Yeah. There are people sitting at the other end who we can call it as user of this data. This guy, we can call it as the user of this data. These could be your analytics ana analyst, right? Uh, your end user could be anything, right? This could be anything. These people need the data, but can they directly come here where your data is generating in the OLT online transactional platform and use the data? So, for example, you are generating data at a place, let's say a bank or an e-commerce site or any other business. Can they come directly and see it? Yes, they can. I'm not saying that this connection is not possible. Definitely, this is possible, but there are a lot of restriction to it. Right? First of all, as we said, the data might not be in a form where they can read and analyze. Right? The data is, as we say, it's a raw data. Now, when we are getting the data from this transactional system, the transactional system might be there are a lot of people who are trying to get this data at same point, right? So you might see that if I am accessing and you are accessing, then chances are there that there is some deadlock or I might not be getting the right data. So there is a lot of hindrance to this process. So what we do, we need to provide this data in a usable format. Okay. So what we do, so we define a flow for this data. We define, we create some process in between so that this data could be usable. For that, what we do, typically we process the data in stages. Okay. From this raw layer, we bring it to, let's say, your staging layer. Or in data engineering, mostly when you go and people ask about what kind of architecture you have used. So a very famous architecture used in a data engineering project is called medallion architecture. We have medals, right? Your bronze, silver, and gold. So that's what they called medallion architecture, where the data moves from different one stage to other. So first of all, what we do, we bring the raw data from whatever source it is generating and put it inside a bronze layer. Somebody call it a staging layer, process layer, or whatever, but mostly less for the time being. Understand this way because, okay, we call it as a bronze layer, okay, where we bring the data, right? Now, once the data is available, just excuse me for the front end on, okay. Now, from here, you just get your data, you want to apply some business rule on top of it, right? Once you apply some business rule, then there is some processing will happen. You want to store it in a different layer, right? We call it, let's call it a silver layer. Let's call it a silver layer. Okay. So data moves from this place to this place. Also data moves from your raw layer to bronze layer, right? Now you need the data in a certain format. So you again apply some business logic or based upon your requirement, you move the data to a different storage. And we call this the final layer or the gold layer of data, right? Here we are not introducing, we are not talking about any technology for the timing. We are just talking about how the data movement works today in an enterprise application. Okay. Okay. And from here, people are accessing the data and preparing reports on top of it. There are machine learning which are being applied and try to do some predictive model on top of it. So that's how today the typical world of data engineering or a data project looks like. So basically you need to, there is a data available in one layer. we are applying some business logic, or we are applying some engineering in place to bring it to a different layer. On top of it, based on our requirement, we are doing some data massaging, we are filtering some unwanted record, put it in a different layer, and then however we need in our final layer, we are preparing the data and put it in the final layer from which the data is consumed. So somebody was telling, right, they work as a Power BI developer, so they directly consume the data from this layer and prepare reports. For example, I want to show my sale over the last 6 months, right? So here the sale would be available, you will create a report on top of it, and then we show you so the data. A machine learning analyst wants to see that how my sale for a particular product looks like, or if I know the behavior of a particular customer, maybe next time when he purchase something I can recommend. So they use these data to do all those analysis, right? This is the end. So here basically the role of a data engineer comes into picture. you know Understanding the business requirement, understanding the raw data, designing this basically is called a pipeline, where we are moving data from one process to other, preparing this pipeline to transform the data from the raw layer to a usable layer that everybody can use it. That's where the job of a data engineer comes into picture, right? And so now let's see that the technology that we discussed, right, how that fits into it. So what we have discussed like data factory, we have discussed like data bricks, we discussed like synapse, right? How that fit into this particular picture. Now, for example, this is a continuous process, right? You need to move your data from this to this. The data has to be moved from this to this. This data has to be moved from this to this. You need to write some logic, right? When you are reading data from here, there must be some code that will read the data, push the data here. Or if I have to apply some logic, for example, I know that there is some fake data which is being presented, some test data which is being generated. I need to discard them. Why I need to increase the volume of data? Let's say I'm writing that logic here. I'm applying some business logic, right? For example, I want to get customer specific data and store it in a customer table. That kind of logic I'm writing. For example, people wants to understand the sales, so I prepare a table of sales. I read this data, gather all the sales related information, prepare a sales table out of it, and store it in a sales table. So all this logic that you write, right? That's where your PySpark or Databricks comes into picture, where you write your business logic. Databricks is not only a transformation logic. Databricks also provide a storage which is called Delta Lake. Okay, we'll discuss that in detail. Databricks provides some of the storage options also. So, but mostly let's for the time being consider the business logic part. So that's where your Databricks or PySpark comes into picture, right? Where all this business logic would be written. Now, thing is that the data, this flow from this to this, the business needs the code needs to run. All these things is a daily process, or some process might be happening weekly, some process might be happening monthly. So are we expecting that somebody will run this one, somebody will go and run this one, get the data, move the data, will continuously monitor whether the data has moved or not, will continuously see if my code is working or not? Are we expecting someone to do that, or we are expecting to look at a much better picture and solve some complex business problem? So there must be some tool which will automatically do this stuff, right? Or what we call is an orchestrator. So I define this one. I define all this pipeline. I design this pipeline. I schedule that this should run every day, let's say night 8 o'clock after the business hour, and the job should automatically run. It will take care of moving the data from here based on the business logic that I have written, store the data, everything. And the orchestrator needs to have access to the storage layer. The orchestrator needs to have access to the data bricks, everything, my synapse, everything the orchestrator needs to have access to, right? And the orchestrator could also monitor the data. If there is an error occur, it should raise an alert. If I want to send a mail, all this facility I needs an orchestrator, right? That's where your Azure data factory comes into picture, right? All this orchestration part. Now the next part was synapse. So how many, I mean, people over here who are working in ETL might be aware about something called data warehouse, right? Where mostly we store the data in a structured format. And when we are saying warehouse, it is a large storage for data where we store the data in a structured format, and then most of the reporting and everything is built on top of it, right? That's where your Synapse or Azure SQL data warehouse comes into picture, right? Where mostly it is our final layer where the data is stored, and on top of it, either you take the data in a cube or Power BI and prepare a report and model on top of it. So in a typical engineering flow, that's where your component comes into picture. Now somebody was asking, right, what is the difference of a conventional data engineer and Azure data engineer? So here your business logic and everything will remain same. If you are coming from without an Azure data engineer, or for let me say without cloud data engineer, before cloud becomes an integral part of the business, what people used to do is this orchestrator part or the storage part they used to take care by themselves. They have their own machines, physical machines, where they used to store the data. There were a lot of orchestration tool. There was something from IBM. I think there is something from Informatica. There was some orchestrator tool where you have to configure this job. But writing the business logic, understanding the data flow, and everything remains the same. So that's where your conventional cloud data engineer or this data engineer comes into picture. There are a few more tools that you need to be aware of, that how to orchestrate the data, how to do the things little more conveniently. Apart from that, the core business understanding, the fundamentals remains the same. I think Srinivas, you are asking this question, right?
Yes, Subrat.
So you have any further question on this?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
hi Shubrat. This is Sairam. Am I audible?
hi sir. Yeah, you are.
Okay. You're saying this is a medallion architecture, right? And the raw data, is it a kind of layer, or you mean to say this is a source systems?
This is a source system. It could be anything.
Okay. Okay. You pulling from the source system, are we maintaining the same data anywhere without
It all
enrichment?
depends. See, what happened, there are people, what they do is they create a small layer on top of it, which is called archive layer. They want to
Okay.
keep the raw data as it is. So sometimes what happens is we do not have access to the raw data, but we
Okay.
want to keep the raw data for some reconciliation purpose or for some auditing purpose. So sometimes we
Okay.
maintain an archive layer on top of it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So yes,
So
based upon
where
your
where
business
exactly it
requirement,
fits? I mean, archive layer. I mean, immediately after raw data, or where it fits
immediately
in
after
this
raw
arc?
data, because
Okay.
after
Yeah.
this point the data gets changed.
Hmm.
The reason of the
Enriched. Yeah.
archiving the data is I want to keep the raw data as it is, right? See
Yes,
what
it is. Yeah.
happens is, for example, there is an upstream application which is producing the data. Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
over the period of time, because of our business logic, you made some change in the data. For example, somebody tells that this data is producing a data. For example, this is a customer and the pricing for this particular product is, let's say, $100. You have a logic that this is a loyal customer to me, and over the period of time I am giving a discount of 20%, so the 100 becomes $80. I'm just using a
Yeah.
hypothetical business case, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now you
Yes.
want to do a reconciliation on the data. People say that we have charged this customer $100 but you are showing $80. How come this happened, right? So for
Mhm.
that reason, you have to show that we have a business logic in place which provides 20%. So for that, you need to see that are you going anything wrong? You need to see the raw data as it is,
Raw data.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Got
So
it.
for that, we maintain a layer for it. But after this point, if you maintain the archive
Yes.
layer, the data has already changed, right? There is no point in
Yeah.
maintaining archive layer over here.
Yes. Yes.
Clear?
And one more thing. In this architecture, where exactly ADF and you may say Synapse fits here?
Huh.
In which
So
scenario?
mostly Synapse fits into the gold layer where you
Mm.
store the data in a data warehouse.
Mm.
See what happened is usually what happens. Let's say I'm talking about Azure.
Yeah.
Some upstream application putting the data in blob or data lake, right? I have
Okay.
written my code in Databricks to read the data from
Okay.
data lake. Okay,
Yes.
I'm doing some business logic and also I'm putting the data in archive layer. This code of reading the data from Databricks, applying some business logic in the branch layer and keeping the data in the raw layer, this code, let's say, written in Databricks. Okay,
Mm.
and again, whatever data is it, I'm storing in another Azure location, another ADLS. This
Mm.
bronze layer, let's say another ADLS. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there is some other business logic on top of which what I am applying. Let's say I'm doing some data massaging and I'm putting it in a silver layer. Let me tell,
Okay.
let's assume that the silver layer is also an ADLS layer. Okay. So far,
Yes.
let's say these two are my ADLS layer. Okay.
Yeah, I have the idea. Yeah. No need
Okay.
to draw.
Cool. Cool. Here, after that, I need to put the data in one of the data warehouse, right?
Okay.
So here, from this ADLS, I need to transfer my data to a data warehouse. So here, your
Okay.
Synapse comes into picture. Now, transferring
Okay.
this data, and there is some additional logic written, I will write it in Databricks. That's it,
Okay.
and put it in this. Here, my data warehouse comes into picture, or your Synapse comes into picture.
Okay.
So,
Because in
as
the medallion, even I'm a certified Databricks developer. Okay. And
Mhm.
here the case is we have a Unity catalog where we can use this Hive kind of database
lake
and
house
tables
that
as
you are
well.
telling,
So
right?
yeah,
Yes,
this is the
yes,
lakehouse
pretty much
architecture.
possible.
Anyhow. Yeah.
This is what,
Yeah.
Databricks try to sell this product as an end-to-end everything will provide.
End to end.
And
Yes.
how
Yes.
you
That
will
is the
connect.
reason I'm asking how we can use ADF in this scenario. ADF
Correct.
and the Synapse again. That's a different scenario maybe. Uh,
I understood. I understood your requirement. What you are telling is everything can be done in Databricks. Why I need data factory and
Yes, yes,
Synapse,
yes,
right?
yes.
That's what
Yeah,
your question is.
that is
Okay.
yes, correct.
Okay. I will answer that one. See, what happened is, for example, in order to connect to Lakehouse, how do you connect
Mm,
your Lakehouse to a Power BI or a reporting? You might be using a
mm.
SQL endpoint, correct?
Yes, SQL endpoints, correct.
SQL endpoint you will use. So
Mm.
people who are not understanding SQL endpoint and all,
Okay.
that's pretty much fine, not an issue at all.
Mm.
Because if needed, we'll cover those topic. It's just to answer a question. Okay.
Okay,
So
okay.
you might be using a SQL endpoint. Now, over the period of time, what we see is using a SQL endpoint for a large enterprise scale of data is not that efficient,
Mm.
right? So architects had come up with solution that let's keep this particular part inside Databricks or Delta Lake.
Mm.
For gold layer, let's go for data warehouse, because when I keep a data warehouse, see what happened is it's not that when I keep in a data warehouse, it's not that only my application is going to use the data. There might be hundreds of applications who will consume the data from here, right? And they might have requirement that they want to data in the structured format in that the way it is, so that I can directly process my data and do it. Doesn't mean that lake house is out of the scope. No, it's all your
Mm.
business requirements.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
If you and your architect team decide that everything I want to keep inside Databricks, my orchestration also I want to keep inside Databricks, completely possible. Databricks provide you an
Mm.
end-to-end lakehouse architecture, right? Where the
Because our
storage,
end users they
orchestration.
are using yeah Shubrat, our end users they are using gold layer, using the Unity catalog, they are connecting the using SQL endpoints, they are using
Hmm.
this data for the report purpose. So
Exactly.
that is a
As
doubt.
I
I mean,
said.
Mm,
Mhm.
Synapse is one more
Continue.
powerful tool, right? I mean, we
Correct.
can use it in a different way.
Correct,
So
exactly. See, as I said, for example, you are using billions of tables, right?
yeah.
And you
Mm,
want to do modeling on top of it, right? In
yes.
Power BI, let's say you want to store your data to an analysis service in a cube and you want tabular
Mm,
modeling on top of it, right? In that case, Synapse is a good feature for you. Connecting an
no.
SSA analysis service to Synapse, the data processing and do the modeling on top of it, Synapse is a good call for you. You might not be having that leverage when you keep the data in a data lakehouse,
Okay.
right? So those are different business use cases, I
Use
feel.
cases. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based upon the use cases, you have to leverage.
Mm,
So as you said, you
okay.
put in lakehouse, what is your who are your end user? How they use the data?
No, how they are using is, see, anyway we are creating a similar kind of framework, right? Like uh, databases inside the tables, right? Anyway, they are getting the access to the particular tables. So they are connecting using the SQL endpoint. They are connecting through Power BI reports, okay, and they are generating.
So what is the processing engine? The lakehouse works as a processing engine for you.
Yes, yes, completely.
And have you
Now earlier
taken
we
care
used
of the
ADF,
cost
but
part as well? The cost part as well,
so
because Databricks is
the
very
main
costly.
yeah, the main purpose why I want to train is the cost. I mean, how we can reduce the cost, how efficiently
Reduce
we
the
can
cost.
use the data breaks,
Exactly.
and
So that part also will cover. Because
Mm.
when you say data engineer, right, writing a SQL or writing a business logic
Yeah.
is not is just the one part of it.
Yes.
As I'm mostly emphasizing on optimizing it, people are expecting you that you are using cloud infrastructure. Cloud infrastructure is good, but it comes with a cost. So how to
Yeah.
optimize it? When you are using Databricks, which cluster you should choose,
Yes.
right?
That is the main.
How,
Yeah.
right? So those things are part of this optimization technique. So that's also we will
Yeah.
cover in Databricks, which cluster to use, when to use
Mm.
that cluster, when you are configuring in data factory or Databricks, how to efficiently use that, what is a pooled cluster, what is a job cluster, what is interactive cluster, all those
Mm.
things we will discuss, right?
Okay.
So optimizing your cost is also a very important part of your data engineering job.
Yes. Yes. And are you going to teach all this into using Databricks or any UI like PyCharm or some other platform?
Databricks is our
Data.
only IDE.
Okay. Okay, Shubhra. Thank you.
Hi, Shubhrat. Continuing on this question, I just wanted to understand. I think my question is like, I wanted to relate this architecture with my current project actually.
Hmm.
So we are also doing the same kind of things, but everything is covered under the Databricks. This bronze, silver, and gold, everything we are doing
Hmm.
in Databricks, and
Databricks. Hmm.
we are putting it into the data warehouse as snowflakes we are using as the data warehouse, and we are putting it over there. Okay, and
Hmm.
from there, the for reporting purpose, we are fetching the data, and then we are preparing our reports and all. So,
Correct.
like, I did not understand, like, where is the use case of Synapse coming into the picture? Is it only the cost purpose
Snowflake,
that
replace
is
Snowflake with
making the
Synapse. See, there are people, they have taken, so company wise, what happened? Let's little bit shift from the technology to the business side. What happened is there are companies which have taken agreement with Microsoft. They will use all Microsoft product and Microsoft will give them at a much discounted rate. So if they go for, instead of going for Snowflake, if they realize that if I'm going through Synapse way, I'm doing the same thing and my cost is somewhere optimized, people will go for Synapse in that case. Or as I believe Srinivas, right, before this was asking this question regarding, or I'm not sure who was asking that if instead of going for a fully Databricks one, if I'm going for a Synapse way, first of all, I'm taking this one, the Microsoft product, as well as my business, my other marts or other end use downstream application are comfortable consuming for a Synapse. In that case, I'll go for a Synapse way. In your case, where the Synapse comes into picture, that if one of this scenario happens, we will go and replace your Snowflakes with Synapse, right? And we'll be able to achieve the
okay.
same thing over there.
Okay, so Synapse you will be only, as you said, will be only using in the gold layer, right?
Yes.
Okay. And why is
So,
that? Like if you are using Synapse, then why are you not using it in the bronze and silver layer?
okay. So
If
first of all, when we are using in the gold layer, we are not expecting any further transformation on top of it. We are not applying any business logic on top of it, right? It's just a storage we are doing. And on top of it, we'll just do the modeling. For example, I have a transactional table. I have two, three transactional table, and I have few lookup table, or what we'll call is a dimensional table. So all the logics has been decided and tables has been prepared at this, and I'll just want to transfer my data from my Azure layer or my storage layer to my Synapse layer, right? And once the data is there, I just want to connect my Power BI to it or my analysis service to it and create model. I'm not expecting any heavy transformation happening at this layer, right? All the
okay,
transformation I'm taking care of it. So as a distributed computing, my Spark or whatever framework I'm using for all the transformation, I can achieve these things very efficiently over here, right? As compared to Synapse. So here I'm keeping all my business logic or business transformation as less as possible. And everything I'm trying to cover it over here. This is just one data warehouse for me from which my end user will consume the data and show the data the way they want or do the analysis they want. And one
okay,
more thing, for analyst purpose also, we can keep certain amount of data as someone is selling, right? They are not using Synapse, they're keeping everything in Databricks storage layer. You can do that. There is no hard and fast rule. I'm just giving you a business logic. I'm just giving you a scenario where at the gold layer I'm using Synapse or you are using Snowflake. Somebody can use and directly use the Databricks Delta leg also as the gold layer, and they can connect to this using SQL endpoint and use it. I'm just giving you a business use case, one of the business use case which is there.
Okay.
The idea is after
Shubhrat,
this layer, I'm not just let me finish this one. The idea is after this layer, I'm not intending to do any heavy transformation of data which needs lot of processing engine, lot of processing capabilities. All these things I want to achieve at the till this point. Correct. So that's what
Okay.
my
Hmm.
idea is. Okay. Yeah.
Shubhrat,
Somebody
coming to ADF, right? Yeah.
was.
Hello, your voice is
Mhm.
breaking. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shubhrat,
Please tell me.
coming to ADF, I mean, can we perform complex transformations in ADF like traditional ETL tools or
Yes, there is
basically
a
elimination?
transformation thing defined in ADF. Okay.
Mhm.
But and internally they also there are certain transformation this one they internally they use the Spark engine and all, but most of the complex transformation it is little difficult to perform over there. The way you write a SQL query and do the things
Mhm.
becomes a little complex, right?
Yeah,
And you'll not
because
be
in
able
the
to
traditional
leverage
ETL we can do the complex things, right? Likewise, can we do it here, perform here?
in
And
traditional ETL also. You will go for a custom utility, right? Custom utility and write your code in either C sharp, Java or something, and then integrate it in your ETL engine. That's how we used to do, right?
not
Is
like
it
that.
not
I
the case?
mean, no, 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 no. Actually, we can do the things. I mean, recently I'm trying to learn this ADF, right? I don't see there is a leverage to perform these complex transformations. And I can you also explain about the data flows and all how we can use this?
How you can? Sorry.
How we can use data flows effectively, like in the complex
Huh.
transformation cases.
Okay, sure. So, for example, here, let's say I mean, I will give you a very easy way to easy stuff, right? For example, I'm reading
Yeah.
the stuff from here, and there is an ADLS layer. Okay, so there is, let's say, I have an ADLS layer, right? I want to
Okay.
read this data and move it to another layer. What I do in between, I write some. So for this, what I will do, I'll write all my logic using Databricks. So Databricks, what it will do? Databricks. Databricks will read the data, do some processing if needed, and then store. Okay. So here, this storage are there. Most of the business logic I'll write in my Databricks using PySpark. What I will do
Okay.
in Data Factory, there is a activity called notebook activity. I will just
Okay.
point my Databricks code where I'm writing it to this Data Factory,
Mhm.
right? So this, when the job will run, this will take care of moving the data from here to here.
No,
One
without
case,
using
yeah,
Databricks,
yeah,
without using
correct, correct,
Databricks can.
correct, correct, correct. So that's one case. Clear, everyone? Now, when we are talking about data flow, right?
Mm.
So when we talk about data flow, I have a source, I have a destination, right? I define my source, let's say some data lake storage. Let's say both are ADLS for the time being. Okay. I want to
Mhm.
copy data from one place to other. That's what your requirement is, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. And I want to perform some business transformation. So what we will do, first of all, we'll define your source, you'll define your sink. There is something called mapping, right? If there is a schema you provide, you can map the data, how the data should look like from your source to destination. Let's say, as I was telling, right, you have a value, you have a discount, and you want to do a final pricing. That calculation you will do while do the mapping over here. So when the data moves from the source to sink, that calculation will happen and the data will be available in the sink with that format. But
Mhm.
doing that, ADF will internally use this, the Spark engine or something, and then does it. So once your business logic becomes more complex, achieving that would be a little difficult. And that too, Azure Data Factory has its own pricing point.
Yes.
Correct. Based on the activity, based on the component you are using, Azure Data Factory will charge you accordingly. So you have to be careful about that.
Mm.
If you are using a Databricks and using a a small cluster to do that, that might be cheaper than using this data flow,
Okay.
right? And you will be able to do it more conveniently as compared to a data flow over here.
Okay, Shubhrat, thank you.
Okay, so any questions so far on this architecture and all? Okay, so I was talking about the data evolution, right? How the data technology has been evolved over a period of time, right? So, so if you know, right, I mean, we know for a thing that the data processing, even the big data is a recent term today, but the data was there. It is there and it will be there forever, right? Earlier, we have traditional databases, SQL Server, MySQL, and all those things were there. But what happened was they were mostly limited to structured data. When I'm saying structured data, they are mostly row column data, right? Eventually we come up with semi-structured data, right? XML, JSON. But this traditional RDBMS where at that point of time was incapable of handling that. Later on they added this advantage. But next we come with more of an unstructured data like text data, images, and all that, right? So this system was not that good, right? We need a storage which will be able to handle all these kinds of format, and that's where your data lake comes into picture, which does not require a particular format. You just dump the data the way you want, and then there must be someone to read it and process. There must be some capability to read and process it, right? So structure was not only issue, scaling was also a big problem, right? So now, I mean, earlier there was only very limited source, limited logistics which were producing the data, but over the period of time it grows. There are a lot of machines, your mobile, your social media, a lot of things are producing data. So the amount of data grows exponentially, and these systems were not designed the way to handle this amount of data, right? So what we need is, we need a particular system which can hold this data and process them efficiently, correct? So initially when started, we came up with this monolithic architecture. So anybody who is aware about what is vertical scaling, what is horizontal scaling, if you need I can explain, or we can just skip this part. What is monolithic architecture, what is distributed architecture? Because this is needed when we are talking about data engineering, all these concepts are needed. This is a theoretical part, but we need to have an understanding then why big data, what is distributed computing. Somebody when they are telling using this term, you should not sound unfamiliar with it. Should we cover these things?
We can skip this for now, Shubhrat,
Okay, okay.
because we have limited
So
time, right?
okay, sure. So with distributed computing, I just give a little bit about distributed computing. So in distributed computing, what happened was instead of using a big system, we try to use small system and try to process our data in that particular thing, which is called a cluster, right? And we need a cluster programming, a program which will be able to monitor between these different things, able to process the data, will be able to leverage all the processing capacities of these individual systems, right? That's where a cluster comes into picture. And with the cluster computing, distributed computing, first of all, the main thing that was introduced was Hadoop, right? So Hadoop has something called a resource manager, Yarn resource manager. Then they have a file system, which is HDFS. Then they have MapReduce. I mean, that's how things work for quite some time. But MapReduce was not that efficient to use, right? So if I'll show you, let's say you have, yeah, let's say this is a text file, right? And there's a very famous program they call word count program, that I'm giving a text file. So first of all, this is unstructured data. I need to understand that how many times each word appear, right? That's a simple program, right? So how does a typical map reduce code looks like? If I'm just typing here, uh, map reduce program for word count, let's see. So if you see, if I have to write a MapReduce program, which is again in Java, so I have to write this much, right? And same program, if I want to write in Spark, right? If you want to write the same program in Spark, so it's just 1 or 2 line, right? It's just 1 or 2 line. I'm just loading the data. We'll go through this in detail. So no, for the sake of time, I'm not covering this program. My first thought was I will cover these things by writing, few pieces code pieces, but there's introduction and all that, so it takes a lot of time. So I will not write this, but we'll definitely do it once we start the course. Right? So all this can be done in these 3 ways. And let's say somebody was telling, right, I'm not comfortable in Python, I'm in SQL. So the same thing you can do in SQL also. Just whatever you are reading, create a table on top of it and write your SQL query on top of it, right? So things Spark that made easy was not only that it makes programming little convenient, but also processing becomes faster. Because in case of MapReduce, there are a lot of data you have to write to the hard disk, read from the hard disk. So when we're talking about a network of computers, right, reading, writing is a heavy task. What Spark does, instead of Spark started using in-memory computing. You can write your data in the memory, in the RAM itself, and instead of writing to the physical disk and read it from there. So that makes the process much faster. Correct. So with Spark, all was good. I mean, but then why Databricks comes into picture, right? With Spark, everything was good. Then why Databricks comes in? I will not cover the okay. Why Databricks comes into picture. What happened was when you are, creating a Spark application, right? When you are deploying, installing Spark, making sure all the configuration you have been taken care of. So it's a huge process, right? So I just keep a material with me, just to understand how the Spark installation looks like. So if I show you, yeah, Spark installation is a big process, right? You need to make sure that you have JDK installed. You need to make sure that you have Python installed. You have to make sure that if you are on a Windows system, you have the Hadoop utility available. You should have the Spark binaries available. You have to have all your environmental variable there. Then once you write it, you have to start a Spark session and all those things you have to take care of, right? Databricks makes these things little easier. Databricks text you don't have to do anything. Just come, use my notebook and start writing your code. Okay. All this configuration, infrastructure thing, you don't have to take care of it, right? You just start writing your code in Databricks. But one thing you have to understand is when Databricks is giving you all this stuff, there must be some trade-off, right? If I'm doing this setup on my machine is all free. Spark is an open source technology. Everything is free over here. But Databricks, when you do it, it will charge you for the cluster, for the processing unit that you are using. Databricks will charge you. So writing Databricks is easy, is convenient, and Databricks Spark engine is 5 times efficient than the standalone Spark engine because they have done a lot of optimization. It's the same people who has developed Spark. They developed a product called Databricks. They donated Spark to Apache Foundation. They developed their product, the Databricks, and try to leverage the same thing in Spark. But the engine they claim is 5 times faster than the traditional Spark engine. But it comes with a cost. So while using Databricks, you have to be very careful of how to use it. So for example, if I'm going and there's a cluster, right? We're talking about a Databricks. Let me just go through. So that's a compute. Okay. Let's say you want to create a cluster. It will give you an option that this is a community edition. So I'm not it just giving me one driver, one worker node. What is a driver node? What is a worker node? We will understand that. So you have, sorry, there is no worker node, just a one driver node it is giving me. But if you have a professional subscription, you will be able to create a complete cluster consisting of multiple machines and all. So while choosing a machine, every machine has its own price, right? So when you go for creating a cluster, you have to judiciously pick which machine you want based upon your requirement, whether your requirement is a storage heavy application, whether you have a processing heavy application. So accordingly, you have to choose your cluster, right? And so that you can have a control on the pricing that you are paying. So all these things you have to take care of while configuring the cluster and running in Databricks. Otherwise, Databricks is very convenient to use. All your program that you write can be easily done. So for example, if I'm just have to write a simple hello world application, I have to come here. I mean, I have to have an IDE, install everything, install Python, everything I have to do here. Just go to Databricks, print hello world, okay, and you are good to go. There's no cluster. So I have to create a new resource, create attach run. Okay, as easy as it is. If you do not have a cluster, it will create it and run it. So Databricks makes developer life more easy. And on top of it, it's not only development, your integration with repository, your data deployment, everything can be happen through Databricks, and we'll go through it, right? So Databricks makes the developer life easy, but to use it judiciously, you need to understand how things work. Okay, so that's about the Databricks part. Now coming to Synapse, as we are discussing, it's more of a data warehouse. So people over here, if you are familiar with traditional RDBMS system, right, where we store data in a row column format, and we have fact data, we have dimensional data. So there, in order to store huge amount of data, we need a data warehouse structure, right? So Synapse fills that part, and Synapse has its dedicated SQL pool, on-demand SQL pool. So Synapse try to fill that particular gap for you. So that's little bit about the component, that is part of it. Any questions so far before we go into what is that we are going to cover in the course? I told you that this class might stretch a little because this is a demo class. So I want to answer all your questions, all your apprehensions.
So is Synapse is also a relational database kind of thing?
Synapse is mostly a data warehouse, but yes, mostly it works on a relational framework pattern. So if you know using the relational database, you will be finding it easy to use Synapse. So, like the SQL server I'm showing around. So your Synapse will create a data warehouse. This is a DB. It will create a data warehouse. Table creation, everything remains same over here. Any other question? Sorry.
Hi, Shubhrat.
Uh,
Pawan here.
Yeah. Hi, Pawan.
Shubhrat, so you'll be covering the Python, all Python essentials that to kickstart the PySpark here in the training.
Pawan, not exact. I will not cover Python in detail. I'll just take one class to make you understand the fundamentals of Python. Because if you see the
So
course, right, it's a huge stuff, right? We have to cover Databricks, we have to cover Spark, we have to cover all the components of Spark, we have to cover Data Factory, Synapse. So if you go in details for Python and SQL, we might not get time to for all these things. So I'll just
is
take
that
one class for. Hmm.
is that one class is enough to understand the PySpark thing?
It should give you a good starting point, but is it enough? It all depends on how much time you will invest. So if you do not have any familiarity with Python, this will give you a starting point, and when I am start writing my first code, you'll be able to understand it. But when we start exploring little complexity of it, it needs some effort from your side. You need to understand little bit of Python from your side, need to understand how the API is working. Because one thing is, a typical Python developer and typical PySpark is somehow different. In
Okay,
Python, you use whatever functionality libraries offered by Python, whereas in PySpark, you use the something that is being offered by Spark and code them in Python, right? So they are
okay,
somewhat different. For example, this code that I have written here, spark.read.format, this is completely Spark API. This is
okay,
less Python and more Spark into it.
okay,
Okay, this is less Python and more Spark. So this is just
okay.
that we are writing so if I change it to, let's say, Scala, this code will not work. I have to assign it to a variable. Okay.
Yeah, that I was aware. So
Yeah, I
just
have to
want to
assign
know,
it to
as we
very.
are integrating
Yeah.
Spark with Python, right? So just want to know whether the Python basics are covered to kickstart our
Python basics
PySpark?
I will cover. Python basics I will cover. Eventually, when we process and you find that there is some concept that you are not able to understand, we can discuss that one. But
Yeah.
covering Python in detail will not be possible as a part of this
No,
course.
no, I'm not asking in detail. At least to
But
kickstart
whatever,
PySpark.
yeah, yes, yes. To kickstart PySpark, that would be sufficient for you.
Uh, Thanks, Subrat.
Yeah. Any other question?
Can you quickly go through the course content and the course duration and the
Sure,
timings?
sure, sure, sure.
Hi.
Yeah. Hmm.
Uh, is there any difference between Delta Lake and Data Lake?
Delta Lake and Data Lake, right?
Yeah.
That's what your question is. Yes.
Yes.
So, okay. So Delta Lake is a completely, is a storage system. Definitely, they are different. Data Lake is what is a storage for all the formats of data, right? Whereas Delta Lakes is mostly used to store your transactional data and it support asset properties. You are you aware of asset properties?
No, no.
Okay. So let's say what happened was, let's take an example that you are doing some transaction, a banking transaction you are doing. Okay, there is some money deducted from one account, and that money is going to another account, and let's say 1,000 rupees is there in account A, 2,000 rupees is there in account B. I need to deduct 500 from account B and save it to account A. Okay, let's say in between the process fail. 1,500 rupees has been deducted, but 500 rupees has not been added. So how the system should behave in this case? It should result in a complete failure, right? I should not make the balance of this by account B as 1,500 and account A as 1,000. That doesn't look good, right?
Yeah.
Getting my point?
Yes, yes.
So that's where your ACID things comes into picture, right? You should able to travel back in time of the transaction and restore it to where it was. So if I know the transaction is failing, I should be able to restore it on its previous state. That's where Delta Lake capabilities comes into picture. Whether mostly in the big data realm, none of the storage provide that one so far. I mean, in a traditional big data, whenever we want asset properties, usually what we do is we used to create a backup table, move the data from one table to other, then apply your business logic, then restore it and all those stuff. But with the advent of Delta Lake, the time travel of the data was possible, right?
Okay.
So Delta Lake is basically a format, right, where you store your data. And when you enable Delta Lake format, the time travel of your data becomes possible. But if I'm simply storing my data, then this time travel or the transactional property of the data cannot be achieved. With Delta Lake, for example, here, the thing that we were discussing, right? I have data over here. In silver layer, I read the data from bronze layer. I apply some transformation logic, let's say logic 1, and do something, then apply logic 2, do something, apply logic 3, do something, apply logic 4, do something. Okay. When I'm at logic 4, I want to see what my data was at logic 1, right? If it is a simple storage, let's say data lake, and no delta lake is and a delta is enabled on it, I cannot do it. Delta version is not enabled, I cannot do it, right? Delta lake and delta is a small concept of it. Delta lake is a bigger part of it, but I just want to give you an idea about what delta format and delta is about. But with enabling of delta, when we're talking about time traveling, I will be able to travel to a previous version of my data and see it, right?
Okay.
So that's where your delta format or delta lake features comes into. Delta lake is more than this, but just a simple start to make you understand where the difference lies.
Okay.
Yeah, before we go into the course detail, any other question? Okay.
Maybe
Huh.
the packages and experience.
Yeah. Sure, sure. Let's go to the course and then we'll come about the packages, market trends, opportunities, and all this.
Sure. Thank
So to start with, we will dedicate one class for Python fundamentals and one class for SQL. Okay. And if needed, then we can extend it to one more class. But I am planning to dedicate one class for Python and one class for SQL basics. If you think that SQL is not needed, let's dedicate two class for Python, we can do that. But as I can see that there are a lot of people who are from non-technical background, so I'm thinking one class for Python and one class for SQL. If you think we need to cover a little more concepts, we can extend to one more class, right? But beyond 2 3 classes, we cannot cover more than Python and SQL. That's what the starting point. Then we'll not jump to Databricks, we'll jump to Spark. We'll understand how Spark architecture works. Okay, a little bit about the Spark theory, how Spark facilitates cluster computing, what is a driver, what is worker, how Spark communicates between them, why Spark is efficient, little theoretical understanding of Spark. Because see, understanding the syntax, writing a code is fine, but you are not the only person who are appearing in the job market. There are thousands, there are a lot of people, there are counterparts who are appearing. What makes you different from them is understanding of the internals, right? And when you understand the internal, you'll write your code in a more efficient way. And that's the impression we need to give the people, right, whom we are going to work with. So that's why understanding the internal architecture makes a lot of difference. So we'll spend some time, one class understanding Spark. Okay. Then when we start coding, we'll start leveraging different APIs, we'll move to Databricks. Okay. We'll understand, I mean, how to read different types of data, be it a CSV, Parquet, ORC, how to create this data, how to create table, how to read, how to do writing code on based on different use cases for them. We'll do everything in Databricks, right? And using PySpark. Then all those things, how to write in SQL, right? As I was explaining, right, here is a code piece that I was showing you. This is a typical PySpark code that I have written, and this is corresponding SQL. Both of them are doing the same thing, right? So how does that work? We'll understand a little bit about that. Spark SQL. In Databricks, there are a lot of things apart from this PySpark and this one that we have to cover. Databricks provides data orchestration facility. You can, do your end-to-end job run in it, right? That's what we'll cover. We'll cover a little bit about the Unity catalog. How does that work? How to efficiently provision a cluster. What is that point that we need to consider while using Databricks? How to make sure that we are keeping the price as low as possible so that we are not overshooting the organization price, right? Then we'll move to Delta Lake. We'll understand how Delta Lake solves a lot of challenges in the traditional data world that was happening, right? And in every things we'll do small capstone project so that our theoretical understandings become solids, right, with the real-time problem. Then we'll move to data factory. We'll first move to a little bit of Azure. We'll understand how Azure works, what are different storage, what is blob, what is ADLS, right? What is the difference between the different storage that data lake provides: blob, ADLS gen 1, ADLS gen 2, and all that. Then we'll move to data factory. We'll understand how data factory helps us to orchestrate our job. What are different components available in data factory? How we can integrate data breaks, storage, everything into data factory. How to move data. How to run a business logic using data factory. Okay. Then we understand a little bit about Synapse. How we'll integrate Synapse in our data factory. How to move data from your data lake or Delta Lake to Synapse. Okay. Then and everything that we are doing, we will doing small capstone project to understand an end-to-end flow. Okay. So here is a detail. Whatever I mentioned, all the details are there. It's not only that cluster selection is the only part where you do a lot of optimization. Writing your code is also a main part to it, right? You need to, when we are talking about distributed computing, what exactly it is? Your data is distributed in system and you are parallelly processing them. So while writing your code, you should know that how should I distribute my data and how should I able to process them on top of it, right? So those nits and bits also we learn when we explore PySpark and all these concepts, right? These are the things that will be understand. So at the end of the course, it's not that you are synthetically aware that how should use PySpark, but you are also aware that how efficiently I should write my code, right? And that's what I believe differentiate a good engineer than an average engineer. Okay. And coming to the duration, for the timing, we are planning for an 8 weeks, which is 40 classes, right? and the time that we are thinking at this point is 8 to 9. Okay, so let me know if you have any apprehensions on this timing. So is everybody good with the timing?
Subrat,
Is
total
it from Monday
training
to
hours?
Friday or
Sorry, can you come one by one?
What is the time?
8 to 9, morning 8 to 9,
Okay.
is it Monday to Friday or
Monday to Friday, Monday to Friday. Okay. Coming
Subrat,
to the ha, ha,
one quick question. Total, how many training hours will be there?
40 hours, 40 hours, but based on the requirement, we can stretch couple of more hours also if there is a need. If you have any particular thing that you want to discuss, that we can stretch it little 1 or 2 hours more. But for the timing, it is planned for 40 hours.
Okay.
Subrat, how about the opportunities in the market right now
Huh,
for the
yeah,
data
yeah, correct,
engineering?
correct, correct. Yeah, I was coming to that. Okay, now you know that today market everything is revolving around data, right? Everybody wants to see how the data is behaving, how the current data is behaving, and how the data will behave. What are the business prospects for them? Because with advent of machine learning, deep learning, AI, data becomes a crucial part because all these things will not work without data, right? And who will provide the data in its required form? It is data engineers. So definitely that is a good amount. That is the market is really big. Okay, because a lot of people are considering moving to the from the traditional data system to the big data world. And with the advent of cloud, see why we need cloud when we have on premises, because when we have on premises, all these infrastructures, all these machines you have to maintain, right? You have to maintain this machine, somebody has to be there to take care of it, security patches, all those stuff, right? Now cloud has taken that burden from you, correct? So everybody is looking that you leverage the cluster, the distributed computing, as well as the infrastructure facilities or the platform facilities that the cloud is providing, right? Which makes things more easier. So instead of you focusing on lot of infrastructure part, logistics part, you focus on solving the business core business problem part. That's where cloud plus big data helps you, right? So definite the market is high, and every now and then if you go and just check in this one, right? So let me show you my Gmail. So I believe every now and then I got LinkedIn for data engineer, data consultant. So you know the if you can see here, let me go there. There are a lot of jobs openings, right? Azure data engineer, Azure data engineer, data engineer. There are a lot of companies which have a lot of openings, right? Now, with this, please understand that there are people are also there, right? So, what makes you different from other is how good you are at understanding the framework and how good you are at your analytics skill. So, once you prove that, you know the package should not be a constant, because there was a time where the convention was that your number of experience into two is what you are going to get. So, if you are a 4 years experience, 8 lakhs or 8.5 lakhs will be what you'll be expecting. But the demand of this technology and the time during the COVID pandemic had changed the scenario completely. Even if you are a 4 years, 5 years experience guy, there is a requirement and you possess the skill, you can very well demand anything between 4 or 5 times your number of experience, right? On an average, let's take into three. That's what today companies are offering mostly. And if you are already at a good package, then they will not hesitate giving you a good hike if you if you should demonstrate that you are skilled enough. So data engineering trend is going to be there. So it could be the case that today they are using Spark. They might be 10 years down the line, there might be something, but anybody who is using any technology, they have to write their code either in SQL or Python, right? So if your fundamentals is good, whatever technology comes into market, you will be able to grasp them. That should not be a problem. And whatever I have seen over the last few years, company are not hesitant to offer the price to the right candidate. Even you know it is not exaggeration, but I have seen people of 8 years of experience demanding 40 LPA or 50 LPA like that, and company have offered them that amount. So if you want to do a generalize it today, I will say anywhere between 2.5 to 3 into numbers of you have 3 to 3.5, they're happy to pay. If you're already in a higher package, if there is a requirement, even you can cross that barrier. You can demand for 5x also. Should not be a problem. When I say 5x, 5x of 5 into number of years of experience.
So, Subrat, like I have a use case. Like, let's say I have 10 years. So I can put 7 years of as Java developer and 3 years data engineering. If I am already in 30 to 35 range, is it suggestible to data engineering?
Yes, definitely you can do that. Definitely you can do that. And companies who are requiring, I mean, I should not commit you a figure, but at least you can expect a good hike if you demonstrate good skill during the time of interview. You see,
Oh,
it's not only the technology, right? With 10 years of experience, you know how an enterprise application works, right? What is the expectation? Where exactly an application can fail and how to decode? Because those skills, irrespective of technologies, those attitude and those interpersonal skills, irrespective of technologies, are same, right? So you can leverage that one. And regarding the core expertise area, if during the interview, so how does an interview basically works is, so they will expect that what kind of project you have worked, how big your data set was, and what kind of complex transformation you are using, right? Then what kind of optimization you have done, because writing a logic in SQL, everybody will do it, most of the people will do it once they go through a course something, but how optimally you are do it, how optimally you are using your resources, right? Next thing is there are some business cases and there are some coding that they will be expecting. Once you are able to crack all these things, all these steps, right? I mean, if the company has a budget, they will offer whatever you are expecting.
Shubhrat, I have another question in continuation to what you said is 2x and 3x of the
Mhm.
experience.
Please
Like
don't go by the
supposedly,
numbers. Yeah, yeah. So
no, no,
just the disclaimer. Yeah.
I am just asking, supposedly you have 5 years of experience and 2 years into, let's say, data science as a whole, data engineering, data analyst. Okay. So, so what will be the consideration? Like it will be 5
5 years.
into 3
5
or
years. 5
3
years.
into
Again, when you say 5 into 3, it all depends on your current package. So if your current package is, I mean, what, let's say you are asking for 15 and your current package, if you commit is 200% high, then the company might not be able to give you that, right? So this particular package is a very tricky thing. But again, let's say, let me assume something. Let's say you are 5 years of experience and you are getting somewhere around 8 to 9, right? And in your interview you perform good, right? So asking for a 15, I have seen people getting it. 15 or 16, I have seen people getting it. Should not be a barrier. And pandemic, though, it was like people were putting any numbers and company was giving. Now they are a little more conservative. But again, if you demonstrate all the skill, this should not be a barrier for you. Yes, Satish, I believe you raised your hand. Satish.
Yes, Subrat.
Yeah.
Actually, I've just shown the content right. In that one,
Uh-huh.
I see some of them in market. They're coming from the ADF to PySpark and database and all. Maybe you may explain. May I know why we are coming to the
I'm
ADF
sorry.
and
I'm sorry. If can you please little louder?
yeah. Actually, you just show this content, right? I
Hmm.
see some of them in the market. They are starting from the ADF to PySpark and Lake
Acha.
and
Okay, okay. So
database.
why this flow? So the flow, right? That's what you are
Yeah,
asking.
maybe
Why? Why?
my
Okay. So Satish, right? Satish, understand that
yes,
data factory ADF is basically an orchestration tool. Once you define
correct.
your logic, right? So once you define your logic, and then you want to run the logic on a different schedule. Let's say I want to run my logic every day night 9 o'clock, and
Mm,
I want
mm, mm.
a tool to do that one. I just configure what I need to run. I configure when I want to run. I configure that whenever there is an error, what has to be taken. At that point of time, an orchestrator comes into picture, right?
Mm, mm.
So that's what I think you need to understand the core things first before coming into an orchestrator. If
Okay,
I tell
okay.
you that this is what I can configure, this is what, so your first question is what exactly this? What is this business logic? What is the data bricks? What is this storage? Right? Without understanding this, if you directly coming into an orchestration tool, you'll have a lot of questions. So first solve, clear that one, then
Okay,
comes to an orchestrator tool. That's what the idea is.
okay. First, think of the things on the destination first, then right, something like that.
Sorry? Sorry.
Yeah, understood,
Satish, can
understood.
you repeat?
Yeah, you are saying something. First, we have to take the data from source to destination. We are
Mhm.
setting up the things first in the destination. We understand the
So you to understand what is your
destination
source, what
environment.
is
Then,
destiny. Exactly. You need to understand that
right,
environment. What is my
yeah,
storage? What
yeah.
is what I'm doing in Spark? How I'm lighting the business logic. Once you have that understanding, then this orchestration should come into picture.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Subrat. And
Yeah.
one more question. As I'm new to this data cloud and data engineer side,
Mhm.
after completion of this a program, can are we ready for interviews? Can we go?
Yes.
At,
Yes. You will be ready for interview. Yes. But finish the course and the next day go for interview. Whether I'll be able to crack it, that might be little difficult, right? So you have to first of all every 1 hour or 1.5 hour, whatever we study, you have to spend 2 or 3 times based upon your which state you are, right? You have to do a lot of
yeah, yeah,
self
correct.
study. You have to come up with
Yeah, yeah.
questions,
Without
right?
yeah,
And then
without
when you
practice.
go for an interview, yeah, exactly, when you go for an interview, chances are there that you might fail initially. Chances are there, right?
Correct.
Because
Yeah, yeah,
you're not
yeah.
familiar with it. So that is a learning process for you.
Right, right.
But when you fail, you will be able
Mm,
to understand why you fail, right? Because after
right.
this course, when you'll be able to understand that, okay, this is what I was expecting, I was not able to answer, that's why I failed. So you know where to go and search for this answer,
Okay, okay.
right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
So if you ask me that after this course, will I be able to do a end-to-end project using data engineering? You might not. But one thing for sure,
Mm.
after completing this course, if somebody puts you into an Azure data engineering project, you will be able to understand what this project is doing. You will be able to understand what the code is doing. You will be able to understand where this project start, where the project ends.
Okay,
Right?
okay. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any further question?
Yeah, Shubhrat, Soumya this side once again. Just wanted to know, here basically in Databricks in my current project, I see a lot of big SQL queries. So how far here um, in this project we are going in? Like, is it
We will
advanced
write
SQLs
SQL
also?
query.
Uh,
Yes, we will cover advanced SQL. Definitely, we'll cover advanced. When you say cover, when you say advanced SQL, you must be talking about the window function, aggregate functions, and all that, right?
correct. Yeah.
We'll definitely cover that. We'll cover that.
Subrata, I have a question. So
Mhm.
do you include Azure Key Vault and how we read the secrets and other things as part of this course, and how the individual services communicate with each other, like be a security, how do we provision that in a real time?
Uh, as per the course outline, it is not there, but yes, we can do that because Key Vault is an integral part of it. When you are creating a connection with the storage, when you are creating a connection string, yes, Key Vault will come to picture. We will cover that one because that is needed. You bring a good point. That is needed. We'll cover that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Hello.
And while you're
because you will
demonstrating
get.
the training,
Yeah, yeah.
so do you I mean, it is just a suggestion. Can you follow the naming conventions and other things as per industry standards?
When you
Like
say naming
naming,
convention, Can
I
you
mean, while
can you be more
creating the
specific? Can
services.
you give an example?
So maybe within the Databricks or within the Azure Data Factory, so while creating a
Uh-huh.
linked service or any other services, so there should be certain naming standards that will be followed, right?
Uh-huh.
If you can
Yeah, sure,
explain that, how that we need to follow, then that would
sure.
help us.
Actually, naming convention is a project to project specific thing, right? Your architect might be defining a naming convention and somebody might have, but we will follow a standard practice which is there, right? So, for example, let's say I'm establishing a connection string to Synapse, okay? And I am writing a connection string as con synapse dw. Let's say that is the connection string I'm writing. Okay, here I'm keeping the connection details in order to connect to my Synapse database, right? So as I'm saying con, my idea is con presents the connection string and which source I am. That's why I'm putting Synapse 0. That's what the convention that we are following. In your organization, you might be following a different practice. You might be saying that let's say I have multiple databases. So when you are writing a connection string, be specific about the database. Let's say con customer database space customer DB while connecting to another, let's say con that other DB. All those things you have to mention. So that could differ, but we will try to follow a more generalized and standard approach. Hope I was able to answer your question.
Thank you. And one more question. So do you have any data set with you to, while you're talking about all these services?
Yes, we have data set that we'll be using.
Yeah. So you are going to share that with us, right?
Yes, definitely.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other question?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. I have one question regarding project.
Uh-huh.
Which kind of project we are going to? Because
So
yeah,
the okay, the project is not going to be the project is something similar on what we do in a traditional org where you have a raw data, you have a business requirement. We will understand how we pass through different stages, how we write the business logic in Databricks, and how will we configure everything in Data Factory. Okay, but the volume of data would be very less as compared to what we do in an org level, right? Because of certain restriction, we are using community edition. There are certain things that at training level that we cannot go beyond a point. So we'll do that one. So the idea is you will know how a typical project flow looks like and how to write my business logic. Only thing that will differ once you go in an organization is the volume or the scale of the data. Was it
can you
answered?
also yeah, can you also explain us or teach us? For example, big companies have 2, 3 data, you know,
I'm sorry,
million
I'm having
rows
problem
of
hearing you.
data. Hello,
Sorry,
can
what?
you hear me?
Yes,
Say
yes.
usually per day, as an ETL developer, we process, 500,000 rows or 2 million rows, you know, for transaction table or, customer, data. So
Uh-huh.
you will also, uh, teach us some techniques to, make this cloud costing low. How you can do it?
Uh, yes. So when we're talking about costing usually can be controlled in two things. First of all, the logic that you are writing, how efficient you are writing it, and how you are provisioning your infrastructure, right? So we will cover those aspects. How to write efficient code and how to provision the infrastructure judiciously.
No?
Subrat, since my background is mainframes,
Mhm.
okay, what all prerequisites are required for to start this in this course?
So with mainframe, I believe you have some understanding of
Hmm.
programming concepts, right?
Yeah, programming concepts and database.
Database you have. So
espe-
I think you are good. I think you are good to start with this course. I
Okay.
don't think any other prerequisite needed. Whatever needed, we'll cover
Okay.
in our journey.
Okay.
You might be asking that any other homework that I have to do at my end, right, before getting into this course. So what I have seen from my experiences, nothing is needed. So we will cover everything what is required.
Okay, sure. Thank
Subrat, I have a SQL knowledge.
Mhm.
So what kind of no prerequisite or homework that I need to do before getting into this course with respect to
Is
Python or PySpark?
SQL knowledge is more than enough, but one thing is I would not want you to get yourself restrict to SQL. So as we discussed, right, we'll give you a refresher about Python. What I would say is just explore a little bit about it. Start Take any course online for W3 schools or anybody who is giving a Python course. Go through that training. Just cover whatever things they are offering. Right. For example, go to W3 schools or Java Point. There is a Python course for beginners. You just type in Google, you'll find a lot, right? Just cover any of them, and that should be more than enough.
So how about PySpark?
PySpark will cover here. PySpark, everything will
Okay,
cover. All APIs, whatever needed, will cover here.
thanks.
Again, what I was telling, right? Writing code in PySpark and writing code in Python are little different. There are certain Python things that we'll be using here, but PySpark is most about exploring the APIs which are exposed by Spark and using those APIs in Python way. That's what PySpark is. So mostly you will be dealing a lot of Spark APIs.
Thanks.
So, and that everything will cover here. Any other question?
Hi, Shubhrat. Sairam here.
Hi, Sai.
Uh, Shubhrat, from interview perspective, I mean, it's not only theoretical, right? Companies are expecting a lot, and uh,
So,
yeah, that is a main point. So, are you going to
exactly.
cover? Uh,
Yes. When I'm talking about Spark APIs, how do you understand? Because without writing code, we cannot do it. When I'm talking about project, we have to write the code. So
yeah,
your
because
code
nowadays
is
there are
70%
more.
hands-on, 30%
Hmm,
theory.
okay,
This course mostly
nowadays
gives you
they
70.
are more into scenario-based questions, right? So,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Raj and Sandeep,
Uh,
you have raised your hand. Yeah,
Hi,
Abhi, go
Shubhrat.
ahead.
Yeah, Shubhrat.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Mhm.
So how does DBT come into play with this whole architecture?
How does what? DB?
DBT? Yeah,
DBT.
yeah, DBT.
What is it about? I am not sure.
It's an ETL tool. It's an ETL tool.
Yeah,
It's
it's like a
connected with Snowflake.
transformation tool.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
believe that sits on top of your data to just do transformation of the data.
DBT. Are you aware of SSIS?
Yes, exercise.
I think both are similar. Are they similar?
No. So DBT just does transformation on top of the data. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
So, okay, I'm
It,
not
it's
sure
like
what
a light.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. But if it is transformation on top of data, think of it as your Databricks and PySpark in this context.
Okay.
And people who have experience in SSIS, you will find Data Factory pretty much the same. It's on SSIS on cloud like that.
Right, right. Yes. Got it. All right. Thanks.
Okay.
Subrat, can you share this course content here?
Yes, so I will ask the Visual Path team. They will share it with you.
Okay, thank you.
Shubhrat, regarding timing, is it possible to change the time, like 9 to 10, from like you are saying 8 to 9, right?
I am okay with 9 to 10, but provided everybody is okay with that.
Okay.
It's okay for me, Shubhra.
Yeah, so if someone is from the Visual Path, can you please coordinate and just fix a time?
It will be very late for people who join from US.
Okay.
Yeah, also I have office, so 9 to 10 will be affecting the office going time.
Mhm. What about 8:30 to 9:30? Just trying to find a middle ground.
That's fine for me.
What about others, people who are joining from US or office? Is 8:30 to 9:30 good for you?
Yes, good, good.
Okay.
Subrat, from Monday the training begins.
Again, it all depends on Visualpath, so when they want to start it. So yeah, I'm okay with any given day. So maybe regarding this, you have to get in touch with them. Okay, not from Monday. Yeah, they're saying not from Monday.
Yeah, they have messaged saying that it will be starting from Tuesday. Yeah, the group saying
Okay.
start.
Okay. Okay. Sure. The Tuesday onwards batch will start. Okay. Sure.
Tuesday in the sense Tuesday IST, right?
IST 8:30. So 8:30 is the time. Are all good with 8:30? Tuesday
Yes, yes,
8:30.
Subrat.
Is that the time we
Yes,
lock? Okay. Okay.
yes.
Let's lock this time. Tuesday 8:30. Okay. I will take it as a no. I hope I was able to give answers to all your queries, and you all had a good session. So let's start on Tuesday, and let's start with some Python refresher from Tuesday, then with SQL, and then we'll move to Spark. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your
Thanks
day.
for the
Thank
session.
you. Thanks,
Thank you,
Venkatesh.
Subrat.
Thank you.
Thank you.